One of the things that has been true over the last year as we've been preparing and planning for this is I've been thinking about this celebration and this month. There's a certain word that's kept popping up in my head over and over again. It's the word opportunity. And the reason I think I keep thinking about that word is because when you look at your life and I look at my life, and in the context of what we're going to talk about today, when we look at the story of our church, it is a series, it is a story of what I would call God-given, grace-driven opportunities. God-given in the sense of we've all experienced opportunities that we didn't manufacture, we didn't plan. God gave them to us. We didn't earn them, we didn't deserve them, they were grace-driven. But here we are, and if you told the story of your life, I told the story of mine. Certainly when we tell the story of our church, it is just a series of these God-given, grace-driven opportunities, and that's great. But with those opportunities comes a real sense of responsibility and accountability to maximize the opportunities that God has given us. And for those of us who are a part of Journey and call Journey home, today is the day when that responsibility and accountability is going to become very clear. And we're going to have to make a decision of exactly what we want to do with the opportunities God's put in front of us. This is week 2 of a series we started last week called Extraordinary Story. The subtitle is important, How God Uses Ordinary People. Because those are the only kind of people God uses. Those are the kind of people God always uses, ordinary people. And as a church, we are praying together throughout this series so that we can get clarity on exactly how to maximize the opportunities God's given us. If you want to be a part of that with us and you haven't yet, go to the app or scan the QR code. You can sign up. You'll get a text at 8 a.m. every morning with a very short prayer that gives you something to focus on, to pray about, and to think about. And for those of you who are new around here, I just want to tell you, this is not a normal kind of series for us. That'll come right after this. We'll get back to what we normally do. This is a little different, and what I mean by that is it's different in the sense of we're talking about not just what Jesus has done in our church over the last 20 years, but we're talking about what we think he wants us to do next. And I think it's the perfect series for you to be here, quite honestly, because it's going to give you a really clear perspective on who we are, who we care about, and why we do everything that we do. Because from day one, we have simply tried to be a movement that is Jesus-centered, others-focused, and outward-facing. That's how we've thought of ourselves as a church. How can we be a movement that is centered on Jesus? We just do whatever he says, that we're going to take seriously everything he said Jesus followers are supposed to do. And primarily when he said, I'm going to give you one command, it trumps all the others, it actually takes care of all the others. You're to love one another the way I have loved you. And for 20 years, we haven't always gotten it right. We've been trying to be that Jesus-centered and to love people the way he has loved us. We've tried to be others-focused, which just means we're trying to prioritize other people above ourselves. And whenever there's a conflict or tension between what's best for us and what's best for others, we're going to serve others first. And we've tried to be a movement that is outward-facing. And all we mean by that is that we're not just going to worry about us, that we believe everybody matters to God. And I mean everybody, whether God matters to them or not. And so we're going to try to make it simple for people to find and follow Jesus. And it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from or what you believe. We want this to be a place where you know we are for you. We don't want anything from you. We simply want to create a place where you can belong even before you can believe, and you can figure out what your next step in following Jesus may look like. That's what we've been trying to do. And over the last 20 years, so many of you have done that, and you have done that so well that God has continued to open doors of opportunities for us. And our responsibility is simply to maximize those opportunities. And the reason I know that is because just a couple weeks before Jesus was going to be arrested, crucified, ultimately killed, he's standing on a hillside teaching a group of his followers just outside of Jerusalem. And he's reflecting, I think, on the fact in that moment that it's not long before he's going to take everything he came to do, his mission, his message, he was going to put it completely in the hands of these followers who are sitting on this hillside. He knew he was about to leave, and he was going to leave it in their hands. And so he wanted to help them understand with this opportunity came some responsibility and accountability. And so he told one of the things he's famous for telling. He told a parable, which if you're not familiar with that, it's just a made-up story designed to make a point, okay? And in every parable Jesus told, pretty much, somebody represents God, somebody represents us. And he wanted to tell one of those made-up stories that day to help those listeners and to help all of us, ordinary people, understand the responsibility that comes when he puts his mission and his message in our hands. And so here's the story that he told. He said again, and he's talking about his kingdom, his mission, his message. He says it's going to be like a man going on a journey. And the man represents Jesus, okay, because he knows he's about to leave. It's going to be like a man going on a journey. He called his servants. That represents all of us ordinary people. And he entrusted his wealth to them. He entrusted something that was incredibly valuable. He entrusted these opportunities to them. Now, you already know this. Whenever someone entrusts something of value to you, you already understand you don't own it. Your responsibility is to steward or manage it well. You're responsible and accountable for what you do for it. This is all Jesus is communicating. He's going, I'm about to put some extraordinary opportunity in your hands, but you're responsible and you're accountable. And then he tells the story, and here's how it goes. He says, to one, this owner, to one, he gave 5 bags of gold. He gave his servant 5 bags of gold. To another servant, he gave 2 bags. To another, 1 bag, each according to his ability. And then he went on his journey. He left. Now notice, the servants didn't get to pick how much they got. The owner decided, I'm going to give you this much opportunity and you this much and you this much, and it's entirely dependent on what the owner felt each person could handle. But it didn't matter if they got a little or a lot because the expectation was the same. And then the owner up and he went on his trip. And what do you think the servants did? Well, Jesus says that the man who had received 5 bags of gold, he went at once, he put his money to work, he gained 5 more bags. He doubled the money of the owner. He maximized the opportunity he had been given. In the same way, Jesus says, the one with 2 bags of gold gained 2 more. Did the exact same thing. Maximize the opportunity he had been given. But Jesus says, the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. Now, why would he do that? Well, think about it. If I'm going to try to maximize the opportunity that this owner has given me, and it doesn't work out, if I fail, well, now I got a real problem on my hands. And I don't want to take the risk of failing. This is what this guy's thinking. I don't want to take the risk of failing. And so in order to play it safe, I'm just going to be content with what he put in my hand. And I'm going to make sure when he comes back, whenever that day is, I can give him exactly what he gave me. The problem is in playing it safe, simply so he could be safe and comfortable, he missed the opportunity of a lifetime. And then Jesus tells us this. After a long time, the master of those servants returned, and he settled accounts with them. And I don't even need to read you the rest of this parable, do I? Because you can guess what happened. You can guess who the master was happy with and who he wasn't. The 2 servants who had maximized the opportunity and doubled the amount, they both received, this is important, equal reward. It didn't matter that one of them now had 10 bags of gold and one had 4. They both had maximized the opportunity they'd been given. They got rewarded equally. But the man who decided to play it safe, to be content, to be comfortable, well, he had a different experience with the master. He left extremely frustrated. He left having missed the opportunity of a lifetime. Now, you can go read the rest of the story for yourself, but what's Jesus' point? The thing he was trying to communicate to all of us who follow him is very simple. Our responsibility is to maximize our opportunities, our God-given, grace-driven opportunities. Now, the reason I wanted to share this story with you today is for those of you who called Journey home, and if you didn't, if this isn't your church yet, you're just trying to figure it out, you couldn't have picked a better day to come because none of this is required of you, okay? It's all optional, and by the time I'm done with this, you'll be like, I'm glad he wasn't talking to me. So the rest of us who call Journey home, this story is really relevant. And the reason it's relevant is because you and I have to decide what kind of church we're going to be. We have to decide if we're going to be like the guys who maximize their opportunity or the one who settled. We have to decide if we're going to take the risk to try to do everything we can with the opportunities God's put in our hand, or if we're going to be comfortable and play it safe. We have to decide what question is going to drive this movement. Are we going to care more about what we're content with? Okay, well, we're at a point. I'm content. You know, it's good, and my family's good, and we're experiencing everything we need, and it's wonderful. Let's just settle for that. I mean, you can do that. A lot of people, a lot of places choose to do that. We can decide we're just going to let what we do be driven by what we're content with. Or we can ask ourselves the question, what are we capable of? And we can decide that we're going to try to maximize the opportunities God has given us. Now, the reason I bring these two questions up is because I want to give you my perspective on you, okay? And you may argue with me about this, and that's fine. It's kind of irrelevant. But I see a lot of churches. I go to a lot of places. I talk to a lot of pastors. And I want to tell you something. From my point of view, you're a five-bagger church. It's kind of an odd way to say it, isn't it? But you get my point. You're like a church. You're like the guy that God gave 5 bags to. You're a church that God's come and he said, I'm giving you 5 bags of opportunity. That doesn't make us any better than a church he gives 2 bags or 1 bag, but he's given you 5 bags. You have 5 bags of talent. You have 5 bags of resources. You have 5 bags of opportunity. But if I'm being honest with you, and I'm going to be honest with you, as much as we have done over the last 20 years, and as much as Jesus has done through us to make an impact, we're only delivering a 2 or 3 bag return on the opportunity he's given us. It's good. I'm not saying it's bad. Those 2 bags of return have made a lot of impact in a lot of ways. But we're not maximizing our opportunity yet. We're not maximizing everything that God has given us. And we've got to decide if we're going to be comfortable and settle or if we're going to maximize the opportunity. Now, the reason I'm talking to you about this is because I think I know you pretty well, and I think I can pretty confidently say you like to win. A lot of competitive people in our church. I don't know why. I'm not that way at all. So I don't know where y'all got that. But anyway, a lot of competitive people. I think you're the kind of people who want to maximize the opportunities God puts in front of us. I think you're the kind of people who want to be driven by what we're capable of doing and not what we're content with. But you're going to get to decide that. That's not a decision for me to make. What I do want to do is paint a picture for you of what it would look like for you to maximize the opportunity God has given you. For you to take the 5 bags of opportunity, talent, resources that God's put in your hands and double it. Last week, if you weren't here last week, you have to go back and listen to get context for this. But last week, I shared with you about a lot of the things that Jesus has been doing through you as a church that you didn't even realize, regionally, nationally, and internationally. The good news is you made a significant impact. But with that impact comes some new opportunity that you have to decide if you're going to pursue or not. So to take your 5 bags of talent as a church and maximize your opportunity regionally means you would decide to be a catalyst for a spiritual movement in our entire region. Because you have the capability now of being one of these catalysts to do this. Let me explain what I mean by that. I told you last week we've got people from 5 different counties, good numbers of people from 5 different counties attending our church. And that's wonderful, and none of that was strategic, none of that was planned. But now you've got this opportunity in front of you. Imagine with me for a minute if we were able to do in every community that's represented here what we've been doing in Callaway for 20 years. Imagine if we were able to show up in Henry, Marshall, Graves, McCracken, Callaway, and we demonstrated no strings attached generosity in all of those communities so that people could see we didn't want something from them, we want something for them. We want a better life, and we believe following Jesus is going to lead to a better life, and we're going to love you like Jesus loves us, and we're going to be generous towards you whether you ever choose to follow him or not. Imagine what could happen in our region if that was happening in all of those counties and not just this one. Imagine if there were high school students who were figuring out how to do in their schools and in their communities what's happening right here. Imagine if there were you who live in each of those counties, you were gathering with each other in groups and you were helping each other to grow spiritually, but you were also figuring out how can we gather together and go serve our community in some different ways. Imagine the possibility of the number of lives that would be changed, the number of families that would be different, The number in some cases of generations that would be changed in terms of the entire direction of a generation or a family, because they understood they have a Father in heaven who loves them and cares about them. And because they experienced exactly what we just saw Samantha sharing in that baptism a minute ago. That Jesus became personal to them. That they were changed by him. That they realized following Jesus really does make your life better and make you better at living life. You have the potential to be a catalyst for that to happen. The question is, are we willing to do what it takes to make it happen? You've got some five-bag potential nationally. I talked to you last time about how you've been supporting churches. They're trying to do in their communities what we're trying to do ours, whether it's new churches that are starting or existing churches are trying to learn how to do it and how they've been learning from you. Next week, you're going to hear a lot more about that because two of these pastors are going to show up and they're going to talk to you and share personally with you about what a difference you made in their lives and in their churches. You had no idea. But with all of that comes some real opportunity. Nationally, you got an opportunity to start and support churches around the country to make sure every single person in our country is within driving distance of a church like this. Which you may be thinking, why would we care? Well, there's this pesky little thing Jesus said about we should care. Okay, so you deal with that. But if you don't want to listen to Jesus, well, there's a selfish side of this too. Because at some point, this is going to get really, really personal for you. And I know it is because I watch it happen almost every week now. You're going to have a son or a daughter, a grandson, granddaughter. You're going to have a mom or dad, a brother, sister, a friend. You're going to have somebody who is either living somewhere else in the country or moves to somewhere else and they decide to explore faith. And at that point, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I just hope there's a church like this in their community that I can send them to. And you're going to do what somebody did this week with me. You are going to text me and say, so-and-so who's a part of my family is moving to Madison, Wisconsin. Is there a church like this there that they can go to? What about this church? And in that case, I text back and said, I know that church. I actually know their pastor. They're part of the network that we're in. Has a great church. He's a great dude. His wife is incredible. They should go check it out. But just as equally, when you guys text me, I have to say, I don't know of a church like that right now in that community. If I give you that answer, suddenly it's going to matter to you. And we can't do it all on our own. But we have a chance to help make sure there are churches like this within driving distance of every single person in our country. Internationally, you're making a lot of difference in churches around the country. And with that has come an opportunity internationally to launch and support networks of churches around the world. We've got a partnership with Further Faster Network in England, Ireland, but we've helped a lot of churches all around the world. And you actually have a chance to make sure that there's a church like this in every country in the world that's making sure there's a church like this in every community in their country. You can help do that. Right now, there is about 20 churches in Brazil. Largest country in South America. 20 churches in Brazil who are trying to do in their communities what we're trying to do. And what they need to do is teach other churches in Brazil how to be a church like this. And they want to do it, but they've got to launch a network to do it, so they've got the resources to be able to do it. And they don't have everything they need. They don't have all the funds and resources to be able to get this network launched. You're going to hear more about this in 2 weeks. Because one of these guys from Brazil is actually coming here, coming out of his way to come to Murray to tell you about what a difference you've already made for them. But you're going to get to hear what a difference a network of churches like this would make in Brazil. You've actually got a chance to make that network happen if you want to. So, and that's a lot of dinging, isn't it? That's a lot. It's all over the auditorium now. It's surround sound. Anyway. Hand me the phone, I'll answer it. I'll be like, hey, yeah, we're live. Anyway, those are the opportunities you have. So over the next couple weeks, you're going to hear more about some of that. But here's what I want to encourage you to consider. You're sitting there, And you're making a decision already. If you call Journey home, you're making a decision already about, well, that really excites me, or I don't like that at all. And I have some good news for you. We're going to vote on whether we maximize these opportunities or not. Now, most of you are like, we've never voted on anything here. No, you vote all the time. You vote with your time and your money. We vote on stuff all the time around here. Every one of you, you vote with your time and money if you call Journey home. So when you don't like a direction we're going, you just quit showing up. You don't give your time. Or you keep showing up, but you don't serve and help with it, you make a vote. If you don't like a direction we're going, you don't give money to it, you're making a vote. When you like a direction, you give your time and money and you make a vote. So you're going to get to vote. You're going to get to decide. Now, I just want to be really clear. If you choose to put your time and money into maximizing these opportunities, then that means you're supportive. And if you don't, you're saying no to making a difference in these ways. And you get to decide, because if you can't tell, this is way bigger than what I can do. It's way bigger than what our staff can do. It's going to take everybody to make this happen. So we're going to have a vote immediately. It's called our annual four offering, okay? That's what it's called. For those of you who are new, we do this offering every single year. We give as big as we can give, and then we give every penny away to nonprofits in our local communities and then in some places around the world to help them go further faster. We fund projects that they don't have the funding to fund that would make a big difference for them. It's an incredible thing to watch these nonprofits be able to make a bigger impact because of our generosity. So we do it every year. We give every penny away. And this year we're going to do it again. And this year the goal is the same goal that's always been. We never set a financial goal. I always set a participation goal. And if you've been around here, you know what it is. The goal is real simple, 100% participation, 100%. Which some of you are like, man, we got to be close to doing that every year. Nope, we're not. We're not. Let me give you a little context. We opened this building up in 2022. And in the last 3 years, we have grown by 132% in our average attendance every week. For those of you who hated math class, that means we have more than doubled in size. Okay, that's what that means, which is great. Here's what's a little bit of a head scratcher. In those same 3 years, every year we've done our annual four offering. And every year the amount that's been given has gone down while we have more than doubled in size and growth. And we have not had 50% participation in any one of those years. Now, some of you a minute ago thought I was being harsh when I said we're a 5-bagger church giving 2-bag return. But there's my first piece of evidence I would like to present. That's a bit of a head scratcher, isn't it? How are we more than double in size and we've got that lower participation? And we're giving less money? Now listen, you need to know two things. Number one, whenever something like this happens, it really bothers me. And the reason it bothers me, I am not bothered by the fact that we all are a mess and we've all got broken pasts, and I'm not bothered by stories, and I'm not bothered by, oh, we screwed that up and we messed up. I'm not bothered by any of that stuff. There's only one thing that really bothers me, and that's hypocrisy. That's it. We ain't going to be hypocrites. So we either are going to show up and be for people with no strings attached generosity, or we're going to rip for off of everything, because we're not going to claim to be something we're not. Now, the other thing you need to know is this. Whenever I see something like this, I never start by thinking you're the problem. I don't. I'll start by thinking I'm the problem. So when I became aware of this and watched this over the last couple of years, as soon as last year's four offering was over, you can ask our team. I said, I got to figure out something, because clearly I'm not communicating well enough, inspiring well enough, leading well enough for people to see what an impact and a difference they can make and why it's so important to participate. It's on me. So we went back to the drawing board and we started over and we revetted every nonprofit to make sure every single dollar that went to any project at any nonprofit was going to make a significant difference, and I could stand up here and say it with 100% confidence and there was no question about it. And we vetted projects around the opportunities that I just talked about that we saw God was putting in front of us. And I'm telling you all that, and I'm going to show you in just a second. This is not every nonprofit we can help, but this is most of them. I'm going to show you the nonprofits we vetted, okay? And I'm going to highlight a few of the projects. But I'm telling you all that because I've told you I'm taking responsibility for the fact we have sucked at this the last 3 years. But if you suck this year, it's on you. That's what I'm telling you, all right? I'll carry the load for the last 3 years. But now I've done my job. So you got to decide what you're going to do. If you want to start maximizing the opportunities God's put in front of us, the 4 offering is a place to start. And we're going to give every penny away, and here's where your money is going to go. Here's a list. These are not in order of importance. Nobody blow me up afterwards, okay? The ones that are highlighted are simply ones I want to tell you a little bit about. So, Levi Miles Foundation, Labor Day weekend, if you were here, if you were not, you missed an extraordinary day. The founders of Levi Miles Foundation were here. This foundation, what they do is extraordinary. They help families with kids who have rare diseases or disabilities. They're helping people all across the nation, but they're based out of Paris, Tennessee. They're doing extraordinary work, millions of dollars worth of work. And they told you, David and Shana told you on Labor Day weekend about this inclusive playground, $2.5 million playground. They're raising money, and they're actually in the process of building right now for our region, for kids of all kinds to be able to come and play side by side. They are almost done funding that, but we would love, if we're generous enough, we would love to be able to write a check and fund a small part of that playground and help them finish that up. Needline Callaway, Needline Marshall, both do extraordinary work. Graves County Long-Term Recovery. You remember the tornadoes a few years ago? This nonprofit has been helping restore or rebuild every home so everybody is back to where they should be. They're down to the last 17 homes. We would love to write a check to them to help fund part, we can't do it all, but fund part of getting these last 17 homes done so these families can move back in and get back a sense of normalcy. Hope Callaway, who does some amazing work, Henry County Resource Center, Soup for the Soul, the Senior Citizen Center here in our community. Real quick on that, so the Meals on Wheels, most people have heard of Meals on Wheels. That is phenomenal to help seniors who don't have enough food. It's also a wellness check on them because most of those seniors never are able to get out of their house. So it is great. Every week they're getting a touch point with them. What you may not know is Senior Citizen Center doesn't have enough money to pay for all the meals that senior adults need because it's that big of a need. So there's a gap between what they have funding for and what needs to happen, and we would love to write a check to help close that gap for them so no senior adult goes hungry in our community. Sleep in Heavenly Peace, we just had a bunch of college students do a build with them yesterday. They're phenomenal. They build beds for kids who don't have beds. I don't have time to talk about that one, but it's incredible. Real Hope Youth in Paris, and then nationally, some of you know about our ICN, our network, ICN, and the church planning thing we've helped to build and what we're doing there, helping start churches. Further Faster Network, that's our network in England and Ireland. Real quick on them. 2 years ago, we started making a financial investment into them. They were trying to double in size in 3 years because England doesn't have churches like this in any of their communities. They have churches that are, 1,500 years old. I mean, they got some old churches. None of them are like this, though, doing what we do. So they're trying to create these, right? And they had about 25 churches 2 years ago. They wanted to double in size in 3 years. We started investing in them. They have nearly doubled in size in 2 years. So now the next 3 years, they want to double to get to 100 churches in England and Ireland doing what you're doing. And it's having a massive impact on the spiritual temperature of England and Ireland. Just Google it if you don't believe it, and you can read, public media companies doing front page articles about the spiritual awakening happening in England and Ireland. So we just want to keep investing in them because of the impact they're making. Andover Church is a church within that network we're personally partnered with. We have never made any financial gift to them, okay? Never. We've just helped them with ideas and resources, and they, help, but we learn from each other. But when we were over there in March, first time we visited, we discovered that they were growing so much, they were out of space. They're a church of about 250 people right now on East Sunday. And they were out of space, particularly kids' space. And they were trying to figure out a solution to this. Well, we do have a little experience in running out of space and coming up with creative solutions. So we sat there, and this was the most fun in the world because we got to give them an idea, and I was like, I don't have to raise the money to pay for that. This is awesome, So we gave them an idea, and they took it and worked on it and everything. Well, they've been renovating their entire building to create more space. They've started opening up some of the kids' spaces this month. They have funded almost all of it themselves with a special offering, but they got a little gap, and we would love if we had enough money, just as a way to let them know we care about them and support them, to write them a little check and say, finish your renovation. Here you go. New Brazil Network, I talked to you about that. This thing's just waiting to go if they just had the funding. And then Latin America, we talked about this last week, Latin America church plants. A guy from Brazil and the guy from England who runs this network, they both are going to be here in 2 weeks. And they're not here to make a pitch, and they're not here trying to raise money. I didn't tell them we were going to give them any money. So they don't have any, keep that quiet, okay? They don't have any idea. They're just coming to say thank you to you and to share with you how you've made an impact on them even though you didn't realize it. It's going to be a great day. That's in 2 weeks. So those are some of the nonprofits. You're like, that sounds like a lot. It is a lot. We actually vetted projects totaling $300,000. That's what it would take to do all of that. Now, that is 3 times what you've been giving. So you might ask, well, Matt, why in the world would you vet 3 times the amount of what we've been giving away? And I'll tell you why. Because all you have to do is some basic math, and this is what we're capable of. If we got 100% participation, and I'm not even asking for an amount. You do realize like $1 counts as participation, okay? If we just got 100% participation, though, we're capable of funding all $300,000 worth of projects. Will we do it? I don't know. Somebody said to me, you know we're going to fail at this, don't you? I said, thanks for the support. I don't care. I do care, but I don't care. I'm not scared of failing. My job is to tell you what you're capable of, is to show you the opportunities God's put in front of you. You get to go vote with your time and your money, specifically your money right now with this 4 offering. You get to vote on whether you want to be a church that maximizes the opportunity God gives you or you want to settle for being content. That is entirely up to you. So, if you want to help fund these opportunities, let me tell you how. The first way is to give to the 4 offering. You can go to our app and you just select the 4 fund, and every single penny we'll give away. For you old school people who like to do checks, cash, for you young adults, check's a little rectangle thing. It's weird, so they'll show you. So anyway, we have giving boxes. Most of you are like, I had no idea. Yeah, we have giving boxes. Out the first door right there, on the left on the wall, you will see a giving box. Just write 4 fund on your check or stick your cash in an envelope or something, write 4 fund on it. Every single penny we'll give away. I hope all of you participate in that because this benefits other people, not us. Now, real quick, for those of you who call Journey home, listen, I want to ask you to take a second step. I want to ask you to set up a recurring giving plan because a lot of you don't invest here financially. You enjoy all the benefits of it, and that's fine. We're going to keep doing it whether you give here or not. We're going to keep serving you and loving you just like everybody else. But yesterday's generosity and today's generosity will not fund tomorrow's opportunities. That's my clever way of saying, those of us who invest here and give here regularly are funding everything we're currently doing, but we don't have any extra to go fund these new opportunities. And these new opportunities are not like, oh, let's do the 4 offering and now it's all solved. This is like the next decade. This is a long-term play for us to maximize these opportunities. And it's going to take money. So if you want to be a part of making those happen and you call this your church, go on the app and set up a recurring gift. Some of you give, but you don't give to your capability. You may need to reconsider what you're giving. Now, 2 things and we'll wrap up. Number 1, some of you are sitting there and you're asking yourself, and you wouldn't want to say this out loud, but I'm going to say it for you. Why shouldn't we just focus on the local? Why should we worry about any other church or community in the country? Why should we worry about any other church or community in the world? Some of you, and you really wouldn't want to say this out loud, but some of you Callaway people are like, why should we worry about Marshall County or Henry County or Graves County? I mean, let them deal with their own problems, right? So I want to answer that. Number 1, I want to make it very clear. We are not cutting any of our investment local. The same type of investment we made over the last few years, we're making now. And I'm not going to let you go, well, I'm not going to give because I want my money to be local. Because I can show you 1.6 million reasons why we're invested and care about our local communities. That's how much money we have invested in our communities over the last 20 years. So I'm not going to let you play the game of, oh, well, they don't care about local anymore. No, 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 no. Everything that we're doing, the reason it's 300,000 worth of projects is we're expanding beyond local, but we're not cutting local. I would also like to remind you, though, that our King and our Savior did not give us the option of only caring about local. He said, your job is to go to the ends of the earth, to send my message, to share my message with every person in every nation in the world. So if you call yourself a Jesus follower, you got to figure that out. And on a selfish sense, you ought to care about more than local anyway, and I'm going to tell you why it benefits you. Because what's happening out there and around there is eventually going to show up here. It's just a matter of time. It's already shown up here in some ways. So if you think you can be isolated and we're just going to take care of a little local, it's still going to show up. And if you really cared about local so much, wouldn't you have already given bigger gifts to fund that local? You weren't. And we have been. So let's not use that as an excuse. Let me tell you why this matters. I'm going to show all my cards here. Some of you have been coming here for a while and you've been trying to figure out what my bias is on certain things. All right, I'm going to tell you what my bias is, all right? It has been a troubling week for our nation. You've had the Charlie Kirk assassination. You've had the Ukrainian woman murdered on a train. You've had the Colorado school shooting, and I could keep going. And if we want to expand beyond this week, it's been troubling last several months, troubling last several years with so many different things that have happened. And you may not agree with me about this, and that's perfectly fine. But to me, when I see things like that happen, it just proves once again that evil exists in the world. And maybe you don't believe that. But it's hard to explain away what we see if you take evil off the table. And here's my bias. You simply cannot legislate, educate, or medicate evil out of the human heart. Now listen, I am all for good legislation, and I'm all for good politics and great politicians. And when you find some, let me know, okay? So I'm all for that, I really am. I'm all for the contribution that politicians make into our community and our society. We need it. I'm all for education. And a lot of you invest your life in educating the next generation. You're making such a big contribution to our society. I'm all for that. And I'm all for great health care for people. And I'm all for helping people who are dealing with mental health issues and providing them all the support they need. All of that stuff is valuable. But you can't legislate, educate, or medicate our deepest problem out of the human heart. There is only one solution. There is only one person who can transform evil to good in a human heart. It is our King and our Savior, Jesus. And I got 20 years of evidence here, and we got 2,000 years of evidence as Christianity to prove it happens over and over and over again. And so here's my bias. If you said, Matt, we're going to give you the power to snap your fingers and make one thing happen to make our country better, to make it great again, to get it back the way we want it to be, I'll tell you what I would do. I would snap my fingers and make sure there was a Jesus-centered, others-focused, outward-facing local church in every single community in our country and in every single community in the world. That's what I would do. Because a Jesus-centered, others-focused, outward-facing local church is the hope of the world. Because we carry the message of hope that everybody needs. We carry the message of the only solution that will transform a human heart. So, you do what you want to do with the opportunities that God's putting in front of us. But I am all in on them. Because I think if we can be the best Jesus-centered, others-focused, outward-facing church right here, it will transform our region. And if we can help create other churches like this and support other churches like this around the nation, it will change our nation. And if we can do it around the world, it will ultimately change the world. And so what I'm asking you to do today is actually not just to give. If you call Journey your church home, I'm asking for something way deeper and way scarier. I'm asking for you to surrender. For you to say, God, I am willing and available. I don't know how you want to use me. I don't know how I could help and be a part. I'm a mess myself. I don't have it all figured out. But God, if you're putting these opportunities in front of us, I'm willing to play whatever role you want me to play in the story you're writing. I'll surrender. That's what I'm asking you to do. And if you'll do it and I'll do it, we can maximize these God-given, grace-driven, extraordinary opportunities that for whatever reason, God's chose to put in front of us. We can do all we're capable of doing, or we can be content. Whether we surrender or not will determine which way we go. So we're going to end with a song, and I want to invite you to use this as a prayer to surrender. To use these words and this song as a way to say to God, it's scary. I don't even know entirely what it means, but as best I can, I'm willing to do whatever you want. I'll surrender to you. So would you stand, pray with me, then we'll sing. Father, we in no way think we deserve the opportunities you've given us. In no way do we think that we've earned it or deserve it or we're special in any way. We are just a group of ordinary people who get it wrong a bunch, and we don't always follow you well, and we don't always love people the way you love us, but we try to get it right. And we're grateful for everything you've done through us in the last 20 years, and we're grateful you would be so kind as to put new opportunities in front of us today. And my prayer is that we will choose to surrender, because it will cost something to care about people other than ourselves. But in these next few moments, we just want to express to you that we are willing, that we're available to do whatever it is you want us to do. And we'll trust you to do what only you can do in the middle of it. It's in your name we pray. Amen.